Hey guys, you want to play some games? Hello everyone, and welcome to the, what do we call it, a Spoilercast? Spoilercast.
Spoiler.
Of The Last of Us Part 2. So, before we get into anything else, if you're listening right now, we are going to talk about every single thing about this game, story-wise, that can be spoiled. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, guess what? You either are going to be or you're not going to listen. Those are your two options. So, who do I have with me right here?
CATHY.
Who do I have on the other line?
Josh.
You did it right this time. It's Shelby.
And I'm
Internet.
Just two things without being told about them.
And I'm Andy. So we're here to talk about The Last of Us. I don't even know where to start. Actually, I do. I took some notes from stuff that. So a little peek behind the curtain here. Usually, we send out a doc for the Pixel Club podcast, and we write down the stuff that we want to talk about. And typically, my section is like a page and a half long because I just write down everything I want to say. I didn't this time because I just didn't have time. So there's some stuff from the last podcast that I didn't get into about The Last of Us, and I just wanted to pull it up right here, just some notes here. So there's a part.
I don't know how you guys want to do you want to go from beginning to end?
I just want
I want to talk about the end.
We can go from beginning to end. I just want to get these two things out of the way. These two little points that I had.
Well, they better not be in the middle.
They are in the middle. Well, one of them is an overall judgment of the game, but another one is just a cute thing that I noticed. So there's a part when you're playing as Ellie and you're swimming
in the beginning.
Towards the middle.
What did I just say?
I said we're going to get to the beginning once I get these 2 points that I wanted to bring up in the last podcast out of the way. That's it. This is it.
About The Last of Us.
Yes, it's about The Last of Us. All of this is going to be about The Last of Us. So, she's swimming through this she's trying to get to Nora, one of the people that were part of the wolves who perpetrated their shit. And she comes up and chokes out a girl. Mm-hmm. Josh, I don't know if you remember this. She swims up and chokes out a girl who's playing a PlayStation Vita.
Yeah.
And she drops it after Ellie kills her. And did you mess around with that at all? Did you look at it?
I looked at it, but I kind of moved on after that point.
She was playing Hotline Miami. I could tell that because of the music. It was very tinny because in the game it was coming from earbuds. But that music was so distinctive. I was like, man, she's playing Hotline Miami. That's crazy. Also, 5 minutes later, you're crawling through a vent, still in the same area, and there is a dude listening to Ice Cube's "Today Was a Good Day." He was you're crawling through vents. He's in his own little room, and I literally this was late at night at this point. This was probably 1:30 in the morning, last Friday, and I pulled out my phone. I was gonna snap it to y'all. I was like, look at this. This is the greatest game ever made. This fucking song's great. But they must have only licensed 30 seconds of it because by the time I pulled that phone out, he turned off the radio and walked away. So that's something that I wanted to point out last week, but didn't. Also, just to get into some mechanics of the game, has anybody ever talked about how absurd the upgrade system in this game is?
It's kind of limited.
I'm talking about fiction based only. Literally, what you're doing is grabbing as many pills as you can find, literally hundreds of pills, taking them all at the same time. And all of a sudden, you can hear better, or sneak around better, or aim better. It's so weird. I'm just going to take all these pills at once. That would kill people.
You're doing steroids for your mind.
You just take it.
Real world properties.
Yeah, I'm just talking about in the fiction. The upgrade stuff is fine.
Ellie's goddamn drug addict.
Yeah, and Abby is as well.
Yeah. Well, obviously.
That was my two notes that I just wanted to get out there from the very beginning. So to talk about the plot itself, so
the opening sequence for me was so pretty.
Yes.
The graphics, whoever was the team that was in charge of that was great.
Well, Naughty Dog has always been known for just squeezing every single fucking piece of power they can out of the PlayStation, any PlayStation they've ever worked on, and this is no different. It's insanely beautiful, but we start off with finding out that Joel, Ellie, and Tommy have all found residence in this little township called Jackson, somewhere in the northwest. And that for me is already weird because it seems like they've already, they've found their peace. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like The Last of Us is already about, everyone's getting their head chopped off and shot all the time. But they've found their peace. Like, they have found a place with power, with a society, with, regulations, all this other stuff, and they're there. But it's not to be, because what happens, Captain Brown?
What do you mean, what happens?
What happens at the very beginning of the game?
First 45 minutes.
All I know from the beginning is that Ellie was mad at Joel. Joel came in her room. She was mad because of something that happened. And he gave her a guitar. And
That was a flashback.
well, that's the big first part I remember.
Well, that was a flashback.
That's the first part I remember.
Well, the first...
I think I missed the very beginning.
Well, the first big story beat is you meet Abby.
I don't remember meeting Abby until after.
What do y'all remember about meeting Abby? Like her first...
You mean as the player meeting Abby?
Yes, the very first time you see her in the little snow lodge.
So, immediately I was like, I feel like she's going to be the villain in this story. Just because of the way that she was talking to Owen when they were walking through the snow and talking about trying to find this person, blah, blah, blah. What was your first impression, Joshua?
I was like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Why are we... What's the importance of this person, and why am I playing her and not playing either Joel or Ellie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was confused. I do remember them walking through the snow.
Yeah, and I was already
that was after the flashback.
Yes, that was after the flashback. I was already not on board with Owen because just this asshole telling you, you gotta see it, keep going.
I know.
What's wrong with you?
I was annoyed by that.
And he does that several times throughout the game.
I thought
that
he
exact
was leading
same
her to her
routine.
death. It was going to push her up the side of the mountain.
God, dude, just tell me. But then he starts going on about, Mel's pregnant, all this other stuff. So it kind of gets more, not intimate.
He's Captain Douche.
It gets more like you get the feeling that these people are closer than, not as close as I would have predicted them would be, but like they're friends. It's not like this troop of soldiers or whatever. But they come upon Jackson. That's what Owen is leading Abby to see. Owen thinks that we should tell the others and try to regroup and figure out what we need to do about this. We don't know what this is, but we know that they have business down in Jackson to figure out. Abby's having no part of it. She wants to go down and take care of it right now. Whatever it is what it is. She finds herself in another snow lodge, or they're in the mountains basically, with Joel and Tommy. And this is when a big horde of infected come in. Joel and Tommy try to protect her. They enter.
Wait, can we talk about what happens before that?
Sure.
Where you encounter zombies for the first time in the game?
Sure.
Where you're walking through the snow. I got a lot of anxiety watching that part. Where I feel, don't you squeeze through something, or you fall down?
There's
you get up, you can see a bunch of frozen. I was like, well, these motherfuckers are gonna pop up, and it's gonna scare the poop out of me.
There's a specific part with a fence I remember where Abby's in between a building and a fence, and the infector is literally just grabbing at her because it's just like a horde of things running at her. But yeah, this is when Abby meets Joel in this part, so that's significant.
Josh is racking his brain.
Yeah, I know Josh said something about it last time in the last podcast.
Deus Joel Machina coming in and saving the day out of nowhere.
And I know you said you thought it was weird that Tommy and Joel introduced themselves to Abby, immediately gave away their names before they even knew who she was, and I mean that is the catalyst to the entire story. Like that's it right there. As soon as you see Abby's face, when she knows that's Joel, you could see her face change immediately. And
yeah, it could have been done differently, in my opinion. It felt like the plot got written for that moment instead of it naturally happening. Like it, I can understand if someone's like, it's been 4 years and they might be happy in Jackson, but at the end of the day, you're meeting someone you haven't met before and you're just giving up your names like they're candy. I don't know. Maybe there should have been some more building prior to that moment for it to make sense of why they were so easily giving off their names, but it felt out of character for both of them, especially Joel. If you go back to the original game, Joel is like
a hard ass.
Joel, yeah, like even at the end of the day, he's still a hard ass because of what he did to save Ellie. So I keep going back and forth on this. Is it bad writing?
Well, something that I noticed during the flashbacks, and I don't know if this justifies the way that he was acting when he meets Abby, but I feel like he got soft over the years, moving to Jackson, possibly, because he, even in the flashbacks where he, later on when he takes Ellie to the museum and stuff, he doesn't seem as much of a hard ass as he was in the first game.
Yeah.
So maybe saving Ellie and everything he went through with her and then living and settling down in Jackson softened him, and he's more of a dad figure now and got a little bit too comfortable.
Yeah, and I believe that it could have been written that way, but they showed no evidence prior to that moment of showing why he was that way.
Okay.
Instead of having me trudge through, boring parts of the game where I'm by myself and it's not actually The Last of Us anymore, it's just me. And I'm kind of, maybe they could have spent more time fleshing out, you're back with these characters. This is what happened over this last 4 years, instead of jumbling it up in flashbacks and having to make those steps after 4 or 5 hours after it's happened.
Trying to make them make sense.
It was very Tarantino-esque, but failed in that, because when you're watching a Tarantino movie, you're getting like parts that are happening before other parts, like Pulp Fiction, like certain scenes are happening, but you're not having to wait extended amount of time to finally figure out, oh, okay, this got up to this point.
Yeah, a Tarantino movie is not 30 hours long.
Yeah. So it felt weird in a way that, like, you were having to sit on these moments for so long, and you're trying to rationalize as it's happening, and then it's something different down the line. I don't know. I can understand that why they were doing it, but I kind of wish that you had sort of a chronological moment. Like, my favorite thing in this entire game was the scene in the museum between Ellie and Joel, and he's like taking her around the museum.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I feel like that could have.
And she gets her space helmet. That's my favorite part.
And that kind of explains the way Joel has changed over time, where like after you finish the space part, you're going into this next part of the museum and it's like locked down, and Ellie's like, no, you can just boost me over, it'll be all right. And he has that moment where he's like, no, that doesn't sound like a good idea, but then she talks him like into it, like, no, it's okay, you can just push me over and I'll find a way. I don't think Joel would have done that previously without knowing what was on the other side. And I think that gives a little more information about the mindset of Joel over time that you don't get built or added on until like 2 or 3 hours later. And you kind of, I don't know. Every time I had a Joel scene, it reminded me how much I miss Joel.
Yeah.
And how much I wish the story was different.
Yeah.
Until that point.
I have thoughts about, I have it written down somewhere in my little document, like what I thought about what would make this story better. It might have not have been a Last of Us Part 2, but would have made me care about, the stuff that they present You know, that it could have been, for me, it could have been done better. But, you know.
Yeah, I think this would have been a great third game.
Yeah.
And I say it in the same way of the movie Man of Steel. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but in Man of Steel, I really like that movie, but the movie plays differently from the beginning to the end, where like they have this whole scene with Zod and they're busting down the city and all this stuff is happening, and as you're watching it happen, you're like, this feels completely out of place to the Superman that like I got at the beginning of the story. And it felt like that this could have happened in another movie, and they could have had like a smaller adventure happen.
Yes, that's. And I'll get into my ideas after we lay out everything, because I just have it written down in a specific way.
I'm kind of going through, like, ever since I beat it like almost 2 weeks ago now, I've kind of gone up and down throughout my whole scenario of like it's a slow burn type of move or like experience, because when you're first finished, you're like, oh, okay, like I don't know, you're either taking it like okay, or you're taking it as like I think I initially said at first I was like, this is my game of the year, and then as I continued on, I started pulling like strings from a t-shirt, and once you pull too many, the t-shirt's fucked.
Yeah, it starts to unravel.
Yeah, so I'm at the point now where I'm glad I played the game, but there's a lot of things that I pulled string wise that I don't think can justify the experience I had, and I kind of wish that it was done over a longer period of time.
Yes.
Instead of, I don't know. And I don't think it comes from the aspect of Joel. Like, I like Joel, and I like Joel as a character. I just wish he was killed differently than when he was.
Well, how about we hit... This is the next story beat. Okay. So Abby, during the horde of the infected, leads Joel and Tommy back to her little base there in the snow cabin in the mountains, where her fellow friends are there. And they bring them in, introduce themselves, and they immediately get that everyone knows exactly what's up. That's the guy we're looking for. Let's start beating the shit out of these two fellas. And it switches over to Ellie, and Ellie's going to come up, and she has been hanging out. We didn't talk about Dina. Dina is a character who comes into play later. I don't think we need to get too deep into her, but she is a love interest for Ellie. They were hanging out during a snowstorm. Jesse, who's another figure who comes in, says, hey, Joel and Tommy didn't show up for the next post or whatever. So they go out looking for Joel. That's how Ellie ends up at the lodge with Abby and the gang and Joel and Tommy. And we end up seeing that, okay, Abby is the daughter of one of, if not the big doctors who was going to operate on Ellie when she was a child to find the cure or a vaccine or whatever for the fungal infection that is taking over the world. And Joel killed all them motherfuckers, so Abby is there to take her revenge with a golf club.
I thought we found that out later.
That's very early.
We'll find it out later.
That's...
You find that out when you play as Abby later in the game.
Her motivation.
Yeah,
I guess.
Sure. I might have spoiled all that, but
it's okay.
I already knew that. Like, it's like, why else would they be coming after him if that was like?
Yeah, I kind of figured it had something to do with the fireflies. Is that what they were called in the first game? I figured it had something to do with that. I just didn't know what part of that.
Yeah, I didn't draw it as her father was one of the doctors. I drew it as she was part of the Fireflies, and in between the situation, someone got killed that she liked. Or
yes.
Yeah.
Well, we could
just not the extent.
We could skip all that part when we get there. But
no, it's okay.
That was the first time that I turned the game off. Like, that was when Joel getting beat to death with that golf club.
Golf club? Yeah.
they use their fidelity of graphics, their sound design, and their music to great effect, and they know exactly what they're doing when they're doing it to, make your heart rate go up and all other stuff, and like try to make you feel a certain way. And if you don't want to feel that way, like, then it's like, well, it's a big turnoff. So that was.
I'm glad I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was brutal. It was probably longer than it should have been, even though it's very short. But it also it runs a parallel for me for the first game. Do y'all remember the opening for the first game with Joel and his daughter?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a very brutal scene too, but that's like a bang type of moment, and you have to figure it out. This was just, you knew exactly what was going to happen, and then it happened.
First off, they shoot his kneecap off with a shotgun.
And they beat the shit out of Ellie, and they hold her down and make her watch all this other stuff. So
and her screaming hurt me.
Yeah. So that leads to Ellie's gonna go out and kill all those bitches. Like that's the first half of the game.
How long after?
This is where. Go ahead.
Well, how long after did they kill Joel? Did she go to Seattle? Or was that immediately?
He was buried by the time she left.
Yeah, and it took a while to travel there too.
Yeah.
I think it's like a month or so go by.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. Okay, so this is where one of my issues with the story, and it's gonna have to jump. I'm gonna have to talk about the ending too.
Also, we should say that to just get out of the way, Tommy, Joel's brother, leaves before Abby and Dina do. Like he goes, he tells her, what is it? I can't remember. Does he tell her not to go, or?
See, this is my problem with it. It felt like she was having to talk Tommy into going and doing
and
something.
He goes before she does.
Yeah, but
fuck Tommy, man.
Yeah, I actually.
If that's the case.
I have a whole paragraph written about that sniper scene. That was that was a moment in that game.
Yeah.
So my problem with Tommy is the fact that he wasn't gung ho about going and helping and avenging his brother, but then after, I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it. When Ellie's life is in a happy spot where she's content with what's happened, Tommy comes in and goes, "We need to go avenge my brother right now, and I fucking hate you."
He shows up with his bum leg and no eye.
He's like, "I can't do it."
and he's like, "Fuck you, Tommy."
Yeah.
Ellie's finally happy with her life, and you come in and drop this seed into her head. Oh man, I'm getting frustrated now thinking about it. I wanted the game to end there.
Yeah.
I was happy with the game ending there, because everything after that is a fucking shit sandwich that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah,
it's one of the hardest things for me to swallow about this game, is because I loved this game all the way up until that, because I was like, and I started to notice that the game was dragging on longer and longer in that scene, and I knew something bad was about to fucking happen. And in the last 2 hours of that game leave the more I look back on it, leave a sour note in my mouth about this game. And it's just because it felt like there was some sort of person writing a game for the fact that he just wanted to make it miserable.
Yeah.
I know.
Take all your fucking characters that you love and just make them miserable.
Yeah.
Make them, and I'm really frustrated by that part.
I feel like I see that in a lot of media, not even just this game or whatever. It's just stories in general that just want to shit on characters every single moment that they can and make it everything's hard for them. I'm so that will turn me off immediately. I don't.
Emotionally, don't you think the player has been through enough by that point?
In this game, they're like, no.
No.
They will dump and dump and dump and dump and dump and dump until credits, basically.
And it didn't feel like it was earned either. That's my biggest problem. I don't want to go into I think Breaking Bad, from the beginning to the end, is one of the greatest shows of all time.
I will agree with that. As somebody who didn't watch it for a long time and most recently watched it because of you taking the time to I will agree with that completely. Like, it's probably one of the best shows I've ever seen, linear-wise.
Yeah, I don't want to go into actual spoilers of that show because then we're fucking ruining a bunch of shit. But everything that happens in that show, each character, it is earned. Like, each character, that person earns the story that they've gotten through several seasons, of everything. And then when it happens at the end, it leaves you in a spot where you're like, okay, I'm satisfied. Like, that's one of the most satisfying shows ever, the way it ends. In The Last of Us Part 2, they take you to that part where everybody has gotten what they've earned, and then they go, "Now, motherfucker,
there's more.
There's more. There's 2 more hours of this shit." And
like, how do you feel about being a slave?
Yeah,
okay.
Let's talk about being tortured and fingers being bit off and not being able to play the one thing that your surrogate father gave you,
dude.
And like,
that was so unnecessary. The losing of the finger shit, I don't know.
So we'll go back, but
let me tell y'all
sorry
something.
For going on a rant about Tommy, it was just like,
I fell asleep. I woke up and Ellie had 2 fucking fingers gone.
Yeah. Like I missed that too. I literally played through the last fight and I completely missed the part. Like, I had to read it on the fucking Wikipedia page.
And I'm
That's
like,
how Ellie
Andy,
lost her fingers. I thought it was gone in the before the farmhouse.
I'm like, Andy, where's her fingers?
That's
He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, Abby fucking chomps those shit.
Yeah, she chomped it. I watched that whole scene because I came home while Josh was got to that part of the game. I got home from work, and during the fight scene, I was like, did she just bite her fingers off?
Well, Kathy started watching me play last night. I thought I was literally gonna have to play last night and play all of today to beat it because I just know the game was long and it kept going and going and going after you thought it was gonna be done. I already heard about all that, and she started watching me play when we were in Haven, and Haven was burning, and you're trying to escape with Lev. That's when she started watching me play, and once you get there, it keeps going and going, but it's a beat for beat for beat for beat after that. So, but anyway,
Haven was awesome.
Yeah.
I love that set design.
Yes.
Absolutely, as in chaos of the place it was. It was just, I don't know, all the way up and playing to that point where everything's on fire and you're fucking running through. You're like, this is why I like this game.
And it looks way different from the rest of the game because it looks like something from Lord of the Rings, like Rohan or whatever, the big triangular buildings that they built. But anyway, we can skip over a huge chunk of the part of this game, just saying that Ellie goes to hunt down Abby and her friends and goes to Seattle, and it is revealed that Dina, her partner, is pregnant with her former boyfriend Jesse's child.
Who's Ellie's
CW.
friend?
Some CW
Yes,
shit.
they are friends.
Some CW teenage drama shit.
And all it is Ellie hunting down people who would know about where Abby is at, or people who would know about who was ever in that room. And we get to a point where, and this part kind of, it will stay with me because it was just such a. If you had told me that I had to do this in this game, I would have been like, no, that sounds terrible.
Oh.
Cooper just made a weird noise, but.
He's pissed off about having to kill dogs.
Yeah. It's the moment right before Jesse shows up in Seattle. It's when you're fighting wolves and you're literally going through a suburban neighborhood through 10 or 12 houses. If you had told me that I had to do that in this game before that, a combat cycle would last that long, I'd been like, that's fucking stupid. I don't want to do that. I want the story. But I had so much fun doing that. I just wanted to get it away right now. I love the combat in this game. All the options that they give you to explore with, it all works. And that whole sequence is memorable for me because it was so, I had to be on the ball. I was running low on resources. I was laying down trip mines. I was throwing Molotov cocktails. I was doing everything I could. And it just kept going and going and going. And then finally Jesse shows up. You get a truck. You get back to the theater where Ellie and Dina are held out. And some more stuff happens. I don't even remember that. It's nothing important, I don't think.
Yeah. So, I wanted to go back on that one point where we're talking about the dog thing.
Oh, yeah.
If I would have known that I had to kill dogs in a game, I wouldn't have played it.
I'm glad I
'Cause
didn't see a whole lot of that.
I'm not a fan
Yeah,
of doing that.
there's not a ton of it in the game.
Well,
Still not
it's
cool.
the fact that so they don't give you an alternative of trying to like lock a dog in a room or whatever.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh, there is an alternative, and I've noticed something about this game that is extreme. That should be pointed out. You can walk through most environments without fighting anybody.
Yeah.
If you can make it, you can do it. I've run through
You
several
just run
environments.
right through.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're playing it like they present it.
Yeah. If you're trying to play the game, then yeah, you're gonna have to kill a bunch of dogs.
Yeah, and they do it in a way where like it feels manipulative in a way because of what happens later on. Is the fact that like you're killing dogs, and the whole time it was happening, I kept on looking over Shelby. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like doing this part. I don't want to fucking stab a dog and hear it squeal or anything like that. That's just something that personally I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
And they manipulate you in a way where you have to do that, and then they go into the next part later on, and they're like, "Oh, look at all these dogs that are just sitting there, squeaking their toys, and
they're your friends."
Yeah, and like, so we'll go on to. I guess there aren't very many important things. Like, essentially, Ellie goes on a fucking killing spree of everyone that was in that room. So she gets the Asian girl with the PS Vita. She gets
Nora.
In the hospital. And you gotta fucking brutally kill her.
Yes, that was a brutal moment.
You essentially torture her to give you the information, and I assume that she just walks off and leaves her or whatever. You basically go on this like fucking Kill Bill style revenge quest of killing all these people, and then you get to this one room, and then you get to the aquarium, and you're like, oh, we're going in there to get Abby, and all of a sudden you have to kill the dog, Alice, and you don't know about that dog yet, but it's a dog. So at the first you're kind of thinking like, it's just another one of those dogs, like it's awful, and so you do that. You find what's her face, Mel, and douchebag Owen, and you have shit goes bad there, and you accidentally kill, or you don't accidentally. In defense, you kill both of them, and then she goes and just to show how manipulative this game can be sometimes, it's like she goes and unzips her shirt and finds out she's pregnant. And then she has like a crisis of, oh my god, what have I done moment, despite the fact of like days have gone by where you went and cold-blooded killed all these people who other people could have been pregnant, because it doesn't seem like that group of people really care about people who are pregnant. Why the fuck is Mel out there in the first place? No offense, I know we're...
Well, Mel and Owen shouldn't have been in the aquarium in the first place. I mean, if they were...
Yeah.
Refill my beverage. I'll be back.
Yeah. But it's kind of like... It felt like we're going to put her out there for this... another thing to happen that is going to shock the audience.
Yeah.
And make Ellie feel bad.
Yeah.
And she's going to hyperventilate and throw up on the ground, and like... It's just...
It feels like they do things just to do things, not really have
they do things,
purpose behind it sometimes.
They do
just
things
to get a reaction.
Yeah, to get a reaction. They're trying to manipulate you, making you think that this is a brutal, sad story. And, one or two of those beats will do it for you, but 7, 8, 9, 10 that they go through in this game is just like, okay.
It's just a constant bombardment where at the point you're enjoying the story for the most part, but you're also having a conscience attacking issue where you're like, why am I continuing to play if everything that I come across I'm going to kill, or everything's... Because at the end of the day, the ending of this game is fucking miserable.
It could have been worse, though.
I guess so. I mean...
I would have predicted both Ellie and Abby would be dead, but neither one of them are, man.
But maybe at the point, maybe it's the fate they suffer at the end of the game is worse than being dead.
Yeah.
Because
So Ellie looks like an idiot, and Abby got tortured almost to death.
It's just it's a frustrating game the more I think about it, because I guess I just expected something, and instead I got someone else's vision. And I think that's a bad idea when it comes to it. Like, it felt like nothing I did in this game could have fixed the outcome or changed the outcome. And I think in this day and age where, like, you have games where you can, like, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2, you know, for the most part, you have several things that, you know, you have 4 different endings. Or, like, it felt like things were happening in this game that I didn't agree with while I was doing it, and I had to force myself to do it. Because I'm not one of those people who think Abby is the worst person on this planet. Like, yes, she killed Joel, but she killed Joel out of the same reason Ellie would have gone and killed everybody else.
Yeah.
One of her loved ones was killed, and that's the duality of this whole thing. If you're taking the first 10 hours with Ellie, that is in Last of Us 2. If you're taking the next 10 hours with Abby, that is The Last of Us 1.
Yeah, it's... Yeah.
Because you're a hardened, fucked up human who is being pulled back from the brink of, like, chaos based upon a child that you meet, and you start learning things about Abby, and, you know, silly things that you wouldn't think would be bothering, but she's fucking afraid of heights, and she's having to be coaxed across. Your mic is muted, babe.
Oh, sorry, I was filing my nails.
So, like, when you're going across that high area, and she's being coaxed across, you know, by Liv, who is, you know, you found out that is the transgender character. That's the reason why she's being, you know,
Liv.
Yeah, she's being, you know, marked or exiled from her group because of that. But like, they build Abby to the point where, like, when you get to a certain situation, you don't want to, like, act on any of it.
Yeah,
you're like, why can't we just all go on with our lives? Like, I don't feel like I need to go kill Ellie, and then I'm being forced to have to do it. And then,
well, that comes, like, in Abby's story in this game, that comes so far late in the thing. Like, I was just, the whole time you're playing as Abby, I was just waiting for, like, well, when do we find out that the people from Jackson are hunting us down? Like, when do I get there? And it doesn't happen until, like, the very end of her point and her story there. But I was going to say, I would think this game, or Abby's story, for me, would make a whole lot more sense if it was just, like, the Last of Us Left Behind was a little side story type of thing with starring Ellie. If this was a little Last of Us Gaiden side story type of thing with Abby, like, if it was just advertised already, like, here is what happened to one of the doctor's daughters, you know, here's what she's leading to, and that's what leads us to a Last of Us part 2, like a, you know, little pre-bonus type of, like, let's figure this out, and, like, then we could see, okay, it's like a wrestling match. What's going to happen when Ellie fights Abby? You know what I mean? Like, it would be it would make more sense, but that's...
You mean, like, if Abby's story was a DLC for The Last of Us 1?
Maybe not even that. Maybe just a little standalone, like, you know, here's a $20 thing on PSN you buy and you play through, and it's 3 or 4 hours long, and you get Abby's story in Seattle, and you get the news, hey, we found Joel, and that's it. Cut right there, and Last of Us Part 2 starts, and then you already get all that backstory in there, and it's not, like, my biggest problem with the game ultimately was that I didn't like Abby. Like, I didn't hate her. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, she's too big, she's like a man, or whatever.
You're not sending the voice actor death threats?
No, it was just like, she wasn't Ellie. She wasn't Joel. Like, she wasn't who I was attached to, and you don't start the game playing this, although you really do for, like, you know, 10 or 12 minutes. But, like, those 10, 15 hours that you play as her, it's just like the whole time, all I'm thinking is, when is Ellie going to be part of the story again? When am I going to get back to what we were doing. I don't really care about these kids. Like, eventually I do, because they tell it, they do a good job of telling the beat by beat story, making you care. But ultimately, I think that whole thing could have been cut out, put as a little, mini game, not a mini game, but a little thing that would basically advertise The Last of Us Part 2, and then we can get to Ellie hunting down Abby, and us as an audience, if we had played that, we would already known all about Abby. We would know like what she was about, why this is important, why we should care, because the whole time I just didn't care. You know what I mean? Like I was already invested in Ellie. Like,
so I actually hated LB.
LB.
Ellie.
Just thinking about me.
I got to the end, and when Ellie ran off on Dina and her new child.
Yeah, she does. She comes off like a fucking idiot.
That kind of pulled at the end where I was like, "Fuck Ellie." Like,
yeah, even before that, Ellie became a very dislikable character for me, and I ended up liking Abby a lot more than I liked Ellie. Even before knowing what the end of the game was, it was just I didn't like seeing Josh play as Ellie as much as I did seeing him play Abby.
Yeah, so I've thought about the way that they could have done this differently, because I think that this could have been 3 different games. You could have had Last of Us 1, Last of Us Part 2, where you get to play as Joel and maybe more of Ellie, and then you meet Abby at a certain point. And maybe Abby doesn't actually know who killed her father or the name of the person. She just knows of the incident that happened, and maybe she's going around her life like, pissed off, but she's still like, it could still be a revenge tale, but she doesn't know necessarily who it is or what happened. Like, and then she could have met Joel and Ellie, and you could have played Last of Us 2, all 3 of them together, until there's a certain point where they're all sitting by the campfire, near the end of the game, or something happens where it starts to dawn on Abby that the person that she's been with, maybe for the last few months, may have been the person who actually, killed her father, and she could have gotten that through dialogue.
Yeah.
And I think they could have made those characters have a reason together, and then at the very end, when she finds out, maybe she kills Joel. Like, maybe you end up being Ellie, or something happens where like Joel dies at the end, and it's because of Abby getting her revenge. And then at that point, you have like a convergence of all these stories together of like why it happened. And then if they wanted to do like their revenge tale of how no one comes out alive when you are, you have revenge in your heart, that could have been the 3rd one at that point, because that's what he's trying. That is what the writers are trying to tell you in this game.
Yeah, I just feel like they had an idea for a story, and then they just added, what about this? What about this? They just kept adding more and more and more, and that's how we end up with a 30-hour Last of Us game. But also, just to keep going on with the story here, we get to the point where Ellie is, killed Owen and Mel. She's back at the theater with Jesse and Tommy. Tommy showed up.
The theater was cool looking.
I can't remember how he showed up. But, sure enough, Abby done busts in, shoots Tommy in the leg, shoots Jesse in the face, killing him. He's dead.
Like, that was so abrupt.
And they do that game. They do that a billion times in the game. Just like, hey, you know this character? Boom, dead, gone. Shot in the eye.
It was like, what the fuck?
And then the game takes the big, Metal Gear Solid 2 Raiden Halo 2 Arbiter switch, where if you didn't know this, you play as Abby for half of the game or more. I would say this: the Abby sections felt longer to me than the Ellie sections. I don't know if that's true, but I don't know. I didn't look at hour counts or anything. I just felt like I didn't know
how long I was going to play until I looked at her skill thing, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I thought it was,
there's like pages.
Yeah,
here.
when I first saw her, I was like, "Okay, I've got this weapon, I've got this skill tree." I was like, I'll play this for a couple minutes, an hour or so." But then you find a book, then you find another one, then you find more weapons. You're like, "Oh shit, this is it. Like, this is the next half of the game right here." And it's like, man.
Yeah.
But I could,
yeah, it's such a weird game.
and we had let me just get into some of these points. This is some of the stuff I wrote down. I didn't start really writing stuff down until after last week when I was like knee deep in the Abby playthrough, and so I'm not going to read from this Wikipedia thing right now, but
Owen got knee deep in her.
Yeah,
because
they
they wanted to show that for some reason.
They clearly had some stuff, but
that was intense.
Abby runs into some children, some scars. Like, she is basically just she is a wolf. She is a part of the Washington Liberation Front, who hold Seattle, and they fight off these scars, which are like some type of religious cult that broke off from the wolves. They follow the teachings of this lady.
They're kind of cannibals too, maybe?
Yeah.
I kind of got that point.
And they're very like anti-technology and stuff, but they still use guns sometimes. Sometimes they don't. I don't know.
A lot sneakier.
Yeah. I'll never forget the first time I ran into them with Ellie, and I believe it was like one of the few weekends that we had the game, or it might have been when we had that week off and I was playing late at night and Kathy was asleep. Kathy said, "What'd you do in The Last of Us?" I was like, "I just ran into a bunch of dudes who were whistling." That's all they did. Yep. She's like, "They whistle?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's all they did," because that's all I knew. And like the last thing I did before I turned the game off and fell asleep was you run into them and they're like interrogating this guy they have a knife up to him, and all of them are holding torches. And so I was just like, well, I'm not going to play anymore, so let's just see what happens. So I pulled out an exploding arrow and just shot it right in the middle of them. They fucking just blew up and went running everywhere. I was like, that's hilarious. And I turned it off. But, like, yeah, those are the scars. Abby eventually runs into, she gets caught by the scars. She gets caught. Oh, yeah. She gets by the big Olga-looking lady who she bites her ear off of. They beat her up. They take her to a noose. These two children come and save her, basically, because they want to kill other scars, but they are scars themselves. But what do they call them? Apostates is what they call them.
Apostates.
And one of them is Yara, and the other one is Liv. And Yara, the poor girl, gets the shit beat out of her arm with a hammer by one of the
Clipper Wings.
Yeah. And her
Clipper Wings.
Just to show how brutal they are, they're gonna really, really twist in that torture portal.
Yeah, and show her arm sweaty and red for like the next 2 hours of the game. It was disgusting. But one of my favorite parts of the game, like you'd mentioned it before, Josh, was getting to the hospital with Lev. Abby and Lev going to the hospital and like her conquering her fear of heights. Just that whole section of just like Lev opening up a little bit, but not enough to know what he was about. They kind of hint at it. There's a point where the scars run up and they start calling Lev Lily. They're like, we gotta get Lily. And Lev asks, are you going to ask why they called me that? And Abby's like, no. And they leave it at that. But you kind of learn more about what Lev believes and like the religious aspect of the scars and everything. And just that whole section of like Abby having to find the gas mask for Lev and like going through that whole building and just fighting with Lev himself, like the bow and arrow type of stuff. Like he was kind of on point as an AI person. It stood out to me.
You get the flamethrower, which is fucking amazing.
You get the flamethrower, and that leads me to the when you go into the hospital to get surgical materials for Yara to get her arm amputated because she's going to get gangrene and possibly die if she doesn't. And you get down into the hospital, and I wrote this down. Throughout a lot of this game, I was shocked in my head that I didn't compare it to Resident Evil at all, because it's very similar. You know, you're fighting zombies, third person style, but the gameplay is very different, just extremely different. And I was like, man, this game's so much different from Resident Evil. Like, I can't believe I'm not comparing it right and left to Resident Evil. But when you get down to the bottom of that hospital and you fight that fucking ball of flesh,
the rat, what do they call it, the Rat King or something?
Whatever. But I was like, that is a Resident Evil ass boss that was straight out of Resident Evil. Just that whole encounter.
Not only that, not only that is, and you also usually in Resident Evil you have more resources prior to getting into that experience, but they're like, nah, motherfucker, you got this limited amount of resources, and you're gonna run around as much as you can trying to fucking kill this thing.
Yeah.
And it just never seemed to like want to die either.
And not even like you kill it.
Phases altogether.
You kill it, and this little buddy that breaks off of it, you have to chase it through the vents and stuff and kill it too, and that takes a lot of bullets. But ultimately I did like that part. It wasn't bad, but it was just like I was like, man, for as much as I thought this game wasn't Resident Evil, this part is Resident Evil as hell.
Yeah, I really enjoyed most of Abby's stuff. Because I compared it, as I did earlier, to Last of Us 1.
Yeah, I would say in a vacuum, it's very good. Like, I liked it. Like, Lev and Yara, her relationship with Owen, like, going back and forth or whatever, her relationship with Mel, what she's going to do with the wolves. Like, it's all a good story, but placed in the middle of the rest of Last of Us 2, like, me, myself, I was like, well, where's Ellie at? What's Ellie doing? Why am I not playing as Ellie? Like, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But
after I got into knowing that I was probably going to be with this character for a while, I kind of was like, I embraced it. But I could see lots of people getting to that point where they're like, what the fuck? Why am I having to play this? Especially if you took the fact that she killed Joel as rough as I've seen a lot of people take it on the internet. Like, I was mad about it, but it was like, yeah. I was more interested in be like, okay, well, if you're going to tell me her story, let's go ahead and read and to figuring out why, she is who she is.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just waiting for the moment where someone comes running up to Abby and be like, Abby, those people we let go in Jackson, we didn't kill them. They're here. They're killing it. Like, I was just waiting for that moment, and it never came until like
you just kind of
it was over with, basically.
Yeah. Well, through dialogue, you kind of heard that like certain people were being killed, and it's like, what the fuck? And you knew that like through the others that you were the one that was causing this issue. But yeah, there wasn't any sort of like blatant like this is what's happening. It wasn't until she got to the theater and saw like. And she has that look on her face like what the fuck? I let you go. Like,
you killed my friends. Like, that's literally what she says, and it's like, okay. Yeah. But we get the stuff to fix, well, not fix, but help save Yara, and she still has to have her arm amputated. Get a little backstory with her talking with Abby while they're trying to find Lev, because Owen and Mel are determined to get on Owen's boat. Yes, he has a boat. He has an aquarium. He's all encompassing. Fuck Owen.
Yeah. Fuck Mel too.
Yeah, fuck Mel too.
Can I rant on this real quick? Where Mel comes out and like she starts like,
yeah, fuck you, Abby. You're a piece of shit.
She's like,
I remember that.
Telling her how bad she is for kids. Bitch, you are out here pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like, talking about endangering kids' lives and see what you're doing. Like,
she's a doctor too.
And she says to Abby, "You ruin everybody's lives, not even kids. Like, you ruin everyone's life around you, and like you're a piece of shit, Abby." And she walks away. That's the last thing. Yeah, she's
like, go fuck yourself, Mel. She was essentially everyone when she kicked that chair. Where it was like, fuck you, Mel.
She was
like, I don't know. She's both her and Owen deserved each other because they suck.
Yeah, she was the most worthless character in the fucking thing. But yeah, they had that look. They had the scene where, Owen and Mel want to go out to. They were trying to get to Santa Barbara on the boat because Owen has heard a rumor, or a bunch of people have heard a rumor that that's where the Fireflies are at. They are all former Fireflies. That's why they're out there to get Joel. They have invited Lev and Yara to be on the ship to go back because they have no place left in the Scars. Mel does her little speech, calls Abby a piece of shit. And Yara hears all this stuff, says that, Lev's upset because he doesn't want to leave. Basically because their mother's still on the island. And I don't know shit about Washington State. Is the Space Needle on an island?
Huh?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Because the Space Needle...
Isn't that island... But I thought they had like an opposite... Man, we need Canadian in here to help us. I thought they had like sort of something else. No, the Space Needle's in Seattle.
Yeah.
But right across from Seattle is not Toronto, but
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Vancouver, British Columbia.
So they have a needle in Vancouver?
No idea.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's besides the point. Abby and Yara are hunting down Lev because he has run off, and that's when you find out that Lev is the transgender character, and that's something that I heard about for this game, that there was a transgender character, and I'll say right now off the last podcast, we had talked to Josh and Shelby, and I had a theory. I thought it was Abby, just because there was so much stuff that I guess I was reading too much into that made me think it was Abby, and Abby is a very big person. She's not.
She got a Ronda Rousey body.
And she's bigger than Ronda Rousey. She's like broader shoulders. She's got bigger arms than Owen. Like I was looking at him.
She got a cyborg body.
She's big, and I just like she says something about her. She picks up a bra in her living quarters, and she throws it. It's just something about science or whatever. I felt like her flashbacks with her as a child, her voice was way more womanish, childish, or just way different than her voice is in the main game. I was like, okay, well, maybe she's going through maybe there's still, drugs that, reverse your hormones or whatever in this, post-apocalyptic future. I don't know. And I thought that's what it was, but, Josh and Shelby told us that that's not the case. So I was like, well, who could it be? I was like, man. Like, I'd already met the kids. I was like, man, it must be someone that you meet later on. Like, this game is long. I was like, what the fuck? But then when it came out to be Lev, it was so, I don't know. And then Yara was talking about, he was supposed to be in servitude, like arranged marriage with an elder, and he wanted to be a soldier and all this other stuff. And it made me like Lev way better. Just that, 10-minute conversation. It's like, man, this is it. Like, this is the good little storytelling right here that I like.
Yeah.
And we find out that Lev has stolen a boat to go off to the island of the Scars to, I guess, convince their mother to come to Santa Barbara with them. And that's not the way it goes down. Because this entire time, this is something else has been happening. The Wolves are planning a all-out assault on the Scars Island because they have tried treaties, they have tried everything they can. The leader Isaac has determined that the only way to get rid of the Scar threat is to just eliminate them all, and they kill them all on their island. So Lev happens to pull up on that while that assault's going down, and we stroll up on the island there with Yara and Abby. We find Lev in their home.
Ooh.
Can
we talk about that goddamn sniper first?
Oh yeah, did I skip the sniper shit?
Yeah,
Before
you start.
That's the only way to the boat. Yes.
Fight Tommy.
That was.
I was like, I don't know who the fuck this is that keeps shooting at me, but it's fucking pissing me off.
That was. I died a lot in this game. Like I've heard a lot of people call the game easy. I don't think it's easy. I died a lot. This was the hardest part in the game for me because it literally, and it made me think about game design for a little bit, because it takes the way you fight these infected and like turns it on its head. Like everything you thought you could do, you can't do now, because whenever you poke your head out, you have a sniper shooting you, and it's like, oh my god, it was so intense. Mm-hmm. And it was
Tommy shooting?
It was Tommy. Yes,
Why
you find out it's Tommy.
Why was he shooting at you?
You're playing as Abby.
Yeah, you played as
Abby.
Yeah,
that's right.
And if you blink, you would have missed him, because like you find him at the end, and also he shoots Manny, which is a partner of Abby, and he seems like a cool guy. He talks about wanting to drink and watch movies.
Oh, you like Manny? Well, fuck you. That's what Last of Us 2 says.
You literally see the hole come out in his eye when he's like, they're like standing next to a door. It's like, and you see a like,
man. You're talking about Tommy shooting at Abby, and that reminded me of the theater scene where Andy was playing as Abby and having to fight Ellie. I was like, don't fight Ellie.
We'll get there. We ain't there yet. We're going beat by beat.
Yeah. When I finally figured out it was Tommy, when you're running through the boat house restaurant thing, and you see him at the door, and you're like, "Oh, you motherfucker!" Like,
I did-
the one that was
I-
causing me so
I
much-
didn't see him until it was like
minutes.
Abby got onto him, grabbed him, and like who was it? Who was with you? It was Yara. She stabs him in the fucking stomach, and he falls off the railing into the ocean. I was like, "That's fucking Tommy." That's when I noticed it. I was like, "Damn!" But yeah, that whole part was super intense. It was great.
So, I kind of figured out it was Tommy halfway through because I remember the whole scene where you were sniping, and I was like, there's only one sniper that could be doing this right now. And when I got up there and confirmed it, I was like, "You motherfucker! Fuck you, Tommy!" Like, like I'm trying to go save a kid.
I thought it was just some random scar and like his brown jacket or whatever. Like that's all. I was like, "Man, I'm gonna fuck this dude up when I get there." But damn if it won't Tommy.
Damn if it weren't Tommy.
God, man. I remember distinctly thinking that's where my life turned on Tommy, where I was just like, "You just try to kill me for the last..." I think that whole segment took me 30 minutes because it was such a frustrating segment. Every time I tried to sneak under things and move all around.
I was gonna point this out. I'm glad you brought that up because I think I got extremely lucky because there's one of the what they call them, shamblers, the big ass zombies that shoot the acid. There's one of them in that part, and I died getting up to him about 3 or 4 times. And then, the 5th time, he was just dead when I got there. I don't know how, but I just ran past him. I was like, okay, I'll take it. Yeah. I'll take it. But I think I just got lucky.
My entire time, I was like, it was just like, I can't focus on these zombies.
Yeah.
Because Tommy's fucking shooting me. So I'm like, I'm running back, trying to block Tommy from being able to see me and take out these zombies with limited resources that I have. And, it was just 30 minutes of just annoyance, and then
I like it.
I finally found out. I enjoyed it, but man, when I finally found out who was causing me all that pain, I was like, "Fuck you!" Fuck you.
I think it's a very
stupid.
I think it's a very memorable part of that game because it stands out because it just throws everything you want to do with, especially Infected. It throws it out the window because you can't do any of it.
Yeah,
but
it definitely makes the game different all of a sudden out of nowhere. You got to adapt.
Yes. Manny eats it, and that poor Manny, rest in peace. So we find in Haven, we find Lev with in his childhood home, Lev and Yar's childhood home, and their mom is dead. As the way Lev tells it, she freaked out. I guess she tripped and fell, or she was trying to fight him, hit her head.
I thought it was her grandma.
They just kept saying it was some maternal figure. I can't remember what they exactly called it.
I thought it was their grandma, and I thought that what's her face was Lev's mother. Am I correct?
I thought they were brother and sister.
They're brother and sister.
Okay. I might have.
They look a lot. They look the
So,
same age.
How did she die?
Lev tells it's
You think Liv's lying? I mean,
no, it's a story that has been told by someone just watching their mother die. Like she just kept coming after me, and I think she fell and hit her head on the table or something.
It's her mother.
Yeah.
But she.
Yeah. Okay.
She tried to kill Liv. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because Yara hits at it a lot on the way up there that their mother is very, very religious. Like there's no way she's coming to Santa Barbara. She doesn't like what Lev's done to himself. She is absolutely against it. So I guess when he comes back, she kind of freaks out. And
she tries to, I guess, beat the shit out of him. He pushes her back.
Yeah, he says she just came. She came after me. And Yara
pushed her back and she hit her head.
Yeah, Yara literally calls it self-defense.
The fuck?
That's sad.
I didn't get that. Anyway, from then it is a escape off of Haven because everything's on fire, everything's blowing up. You got Yara and Lev with you.
You got to talk about not everything's on fire yet, is it? No, you got to talk about so Abby is helping basically the enemy, and she runs into what's his face?
Isaac.
No, that happens. Okay. I'm about to get to that. Because
nothing was on fire yet, though.
The invasion had already happened. They run up. It's Lev, Yara, and Abby. They run it. They do this all the time, like with Manny, like with Jesse. Yara gets shot in the shoulder. She falls down. It's like 5 wolves. They run up. They discover Abby. Abby tries to protect Lev, and that's when Isaac shows up and he points a gun at Abby and he's like, "Okay, you need to get it out of the way of that scar, or I'm going to shoot you. And you got 3 seconds." And Abby's like, "I'm not going to move. I'm not going to move." And he's like, 1, 2. And when he gets to 3, he gets shot in the chest. And it's Yara who shoots him because she's not dead yet. She has picked up a gun and shot him. Then she gets riddled with bullets, like full on, like 2 or 3 seconds of assault gun rifle bullets on her. And Abby and Lev have to run away.
Remember what you did for 3 hours to save this person?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Fuck you.
Just full on.
Remember going to the hospital and getting all those supplies?
Yeah, like,
That's some bullshit.
Fuck that.
She's turned us to a sponge. And they have to run. And yeah, that's when everything's on fire. They get a horse. You run through everything that's on fire, and then you get on a boat, or you fight this gigantic black man that took a long time.
That took way too many fucking stabs, and it got a little too graphic.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here like, holy fucking shit.
He had his whole jaw ripped apart. I'm like, what is going on? That's another.
Yeah.
That's a point I wanted to make about the game too. As far as the controls, and I brought it up last time. I think the controls are very finicky. Like I never quite got used to them. This game, one too many times, tries to be like a Dark Souls type of thing, where you have to, fight and dodge, and be very deliberate with your movements. But this game doesn't have a lock on, so half the time I was swinging at absolutely nothing. It was very, very frustrating.
Shit was and I'm glad we brought up that fight with that dude, because it was like, okay, you should be dead now.
Yeah.
And like, no,
He keeps
I'm
getting
gonna
up.
fucking throw you off the side, and we're gonna fight in the sand, and I'm gonna like come at you like I'm fucking extreme shredder or whatever, and like you have to bring down shit on him. And is that right? Or am I
No,
thinking
you stab him in the neck with an arrow.
Yeah, it becomes a little comical how much damage this guy's
And
taking.
that was a good little moment in that game. I will say this about it, because in this game, if you do get shot with an arrow and it's still in your body, you have to hold down the R1 button to rip it out, or else your health will keep draining. That button prompt pops up on him because he got shot with an arrow by Lev. So he had an arrow in his chest, and that button prompt pops up on him, and you rip the arrow out of him and stab it in his neck, like the point of the arrow. So that's how he dies. But he literally, you take like a fucking hatchet and scrape it across his face, and you could see his teeth, like his whole jaw was ripped out. I'm like, how? Like, that'd be an end for me. I'm like, you win. Sorry. You go on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Gross.
So you find a boat at the harbor. You sail back to the aquarium. You find out Mel and Owen are dead, and this right here is a moment for me that I wanted to point out something about this game that they do 1 billion times, and it becomes laughable at some point. They're literally doing it towards the very end of the game, where
I know.
someone's looking at a map, characters are talking about something, and it's like we have to go to this place. Like, where's it at? It's all the way over there, and they pan up, and it's like way off in the distance.
Yeah.
They do it 1 billion times.
See that Ferris wheel?
Yeah, we have to go
45
all
miles
the way
away?
over there. They literally do it all the way to the end of the game.
How many times they do it?
10 times? 12 times? I'm thinking a lot.
3 times,
Just like,
12
three.
times.
Well, I mean, there's multiple times, because it happens at the hospital.
Mhm.
The hospital's way over there. The Ferris wheel, the aquarium.
They do it in Haven, definitely, because that's when you see the town's on fire. It's like, we got to get all the way over there. They do it at the very end with the round building that Ellie has to find, and you look up, it's way over there.
It does become comical because Abby asked several times in Haven, like,
How far is it? It's like, we got a way to go.
It's quite a way. Like, fuck you.
But I want to say it like,
The writers thought that was funny.
but at this point in the game, where
Probably an inside joke.
Yeah.
so when you find Owen and Mel dead, it's hard cut to the theater. Like, there is no
You
trying
don't
to
get
figure it out.
see Abby's reaction?
Oh,
She
no.
reacts like she throws up. She's very upset, but
Oh,
it's
I
not
missed
like
that part.
it's not like Lev's looking at a map. It's like, where's this theater? It's like, it's all the way over there. It's like, no, hard cut. You're at the theater. You're in that scene.
You gotta sneak up into
Yeah.
well, you gotta go into the theater and
Yes.
The
And
theater
like,
was
you
cool
gotta
looking.
go down.
then you relive the exact same cutscene you saw before with Ellie, with Abby shooting Tommy and then shooting Jess in the head, or Jesse. And
just her point. This time.
yes, and then this was getting to the point that Kathy was talking about earlier, where you're playing as Abby and you have to fight Ellie, and she
And
didn't
it
like
feels
it.
wrong.
I didn't like it either. Kathy was there to testify exactly what the first thing I did during this boss fight, quote unquote. I was Abby. I just walked out in the middle of nowhere. I was just shooting Ellie. This is what I want, and she shot me and I died. But it was just a game over, so I had to do it
I
over
just
again.
didn't want to fight.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to fight at all. I just didn't want to like have that confrontation at that point because it's like, man, has there been enough killing? Let's just move on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's just
Yeah.
bygones be got bygones. You got some of the people I love. You just killed a couple people. Let's just fucking move on.
And that
Because
that boss fight itself took me out of it because, you know, you play, it's what, 10 hours as Ellie, and like you're playing as Abby, watching Ellie move around, and like that's not the Ellie I played as. Like, she's just standing around with a shotgun. Like, if I wasn't crouching as Ellie in that game, I wasn't playing as her. She was a cutscene because she was crouching all the time. Like, she was like, it felt very weird. But you get to a point where Abby gets the upper hand. She's beat the shit out of Ellie. Dina comes in, comes to save.
stabbed the shoulder.
She does something to Abby. Abby, you know, is down for the count. Then Lev comes in, shoots Dina. Abby gets back on top of her. She's about to kill Dina. Ellie speaks up, says, you know, she's pregnant. She has nothing to do with this. That's when
And she's like, "Fuck her."
Yeah, she was like good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But ultimately, she gets up and says, "I never want to see you again."
Well, Lev stopped.
oh yeah,
Abby.
yeah.
Yeah,
Lev's like, "We don't want to do this anymore," right?
Yeah.
They get up and leave.
And I was fine. That was good. Like that Abby ending, I was like, okay, we're having a truce here. We're flying our flags. Like let's just move on. And then it like goes to the next scene,
Hey,
and like
it literally, like, from this point on, I think it fades to black and fades back up at least 4 times. It becomes insane. So it fades down, fades up into a very long and drawn out scene that I told Kathy, I'm like, this isn't real. This is a dream. Because you are literally in the farmhouse with Dina's child the exact same way that they talked about earlier in the game. Said, what are we going to do with this child? Like, oh, I would like to have a little farmhouse sometime. Or maybe they talked about it before Ellie knew that she was pregnant, but they were like, what are we going to do with ourselves? Like, well, we get a farmhouse somewhere, you know, grow crops and live for ourselves. And they
have goats.
get that. They get that,
Mhm.
and they get it with a child. They're extremely happy together, as it seems. They're raising goats. They got all this shit. I don't even know how they have this shit in this fucking post-apocalypse, but whatever.
Andy was like, where'd they get all these
Probably
resources?
Yeah,
borrowed
I was like, where'd they get this from?
Jackson.
But
Fucking gates.
I kept telling her, Kathy, I'm like, this is a dream. This is not what happened. It's like this is literally, she's gonna wake up and both her arms are gonna be amputated. She's got gangrene. She ain't got no teeth no more. Like, she's gonna wake up and things gonna be so fucked up. But no, it's real. But look at my note right here, Kathy. Where I would have been at.
Oh, I read it.
I
Makes
said, ultimately, Ellie fucks up by leaving and pursuing Abby, so I was right. She doesn't get that. Last of Us is about this. Like, she doesn't get what she wants. No one gets what they want in Last of Us. She still fucks up.
I just want to
So-
know why Ellie left to go kill Abby, left her good life to go kill Abby, doesn't kill Abby, saves Abby's life,
But we're not there yet.
loses 2 fingers.
Calm down, Kathy Brown.
I'm just upset.
So I was playing this Sunday evening, and I got to the scene with the farmhouse, and I was playing it, and I was like, okay, this is wrapping up. I thought that it was over. I thought
Yeah.
we're wrapping this up. Everyone's,
I thought it was.
moving on.
I thought it was a dream. I'm like, this is not real. Like, we're gonna.
See, I came from the perspective of, okay, you know, we're seeing, you know, what the story is about revenge, they hammer that to your face. And then I thought the scene inside the theater was the wrap up of, okay, this is where everybody is now because of revenge. And Lev was the person who talked everybody
the voice of
down
reason
from the left.
Yes.
Yeah. And then everybody just like moved on. And then the farmhouse was happening. I was like, okay, we're gonna bookend her story, and then maybe we'll cut to Abby and Lev, and we'll bookend that story, and then ending. And then the farmhouse kept dragging on, and you started getting that weird cut scene where she's in the farm and the shovel hits the ground, and she like freaks out.
She has that. In Wikipedia, on the Wikipedia, they call it post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yeah.
Or disorder.
So that happens. But you still, I don't know, man. It felt so...
Yeah, she has a shovel falls. She has a flashback of Joel saying something to her. I don't even remember. Wasn't that memorable? Flash forward to Tommy showing up with his gimp eye and his gimp leg and his map, saying,
Fuck you, Tommy.
I know where Abby's at. Someone talked about trading with, he called her a big woman or something like that. It has to be her. And Ellie says, I have to do this, or whatever. Dina says, don't.
Oh, not only that, we got to talk about how fucked up this is. She was going to leave without even telling Ellie or Dina.
And Dina shows up in the kitchen or whatever, the dining room.
Yeah.
Dina was just gonna wake up and she'd be gone.
Yeah. So, man.
Yeah. Ellie fucks up beyond belief. But I think even in between these scenes, you see what happens to Abby. Abby, she makes it down to Santa Monica. We don't know how.
Santa Barbara.
Is it?
Oh, no. No, what happens is you leave the farmhouse and then you go to Santa Barbara. Because after the farmhouse thing, I was like, okay, this is a good spot for me to...
But Abby makes it down to Santa Barbara before Ellie does. That's how...
Yeah.
But we get a... I think we get a little glimpse of that before we get Ellie going down to Santa Barbara too. Because she's down there. It's not explained how she got down there. Maybe she stole Owen's boat. But she's down there with Lev. They found the house with the address that was supposed to be for the Fireflies. They get in there. It has a radio. They call into the radio. Someone answers. They say, we're Fireflies. We're going to come. It's two of us. We're going to come meet you soon. They walk out of the house. Then bam. Once again, bam. These two guys show up. Capture Abby and Lev. So that's what happens to them. We're not. Then I think it goes back to Tommy saying this is where Abby's at, and then Ellie.
No, I don't think that's how it. I don't think that's how it goes down.
I don't think it does either.
What
happened? The
I watched that last night.
Cathy Brown, you were asleep.
Not the whole time.
Yeah, the farmhouse.
Not the whole time.
The farmhouse and it's all the way through. Like you don't know you're gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was in the barn herding the sheep, and when she comes back in from that, Tommy's there.
No, she has No, that was like days later.
Yeah, but
yeah,
you
you're
have
right.
the entire segment on the farm with Ellie, and she's already left. Because right after she gets caught, Abby and Lev get caught by the weird, creepy group.
I could have sworn I already known that Abby was already in Santa Barbara before Tommy showed up with that map. Like, I thought... I have to watch a playthrough.
Yeah, this is trivial.
When I get it right, I'm going to be like this to Cathy Brown. Thumbs down. Anyway. So, Ellie goes down to Santa Barbara to hunt down Abby. She gets kind of caught up herself with a little leg trap. Kind of gets her little side cut up at the same time. And she escapes. Finds out that, hey, all these guys down here, they're fucking slave traders, basically. Or slavers down here in Santa Barbara. And she interrogates one of the big fat dudes who was one of the guys who captured Abby and says, I'm looking for this woman who looks like this. He says, she's in this big round building. He's like, what big round building? That one way over there. So you have to get out there. And I wanted to point out that the guys in California, the guys that you're fighting, look so ridiculous They all have fucking khaki cargo shorts on, and like all of them to a man. And some of them have the big riot, like police riot face masks on. Like I'm like, this is such a weird aesthetic. Like, why do y'all look so crazy?
It's California.
Yeah.
And you hunt down their little compound. That compound was unique from like a gameplay perspective because they literally have infected on chains in there, and you could.
It was very Negan, like if you watch The Walking Dead, where it was like a very Negan type.
And you could let him go and let the infected run wild in the camp.
Yeah. The scene ends in the farmhouse with her leaving, and then you pick up with that.
Okay.
Because I just watched it on my stream, because I remember immediately going, well, I guess this continues on, and then I cut it off, and I was like, I gotta play back tomorrow, because I was like, what the fuck?
It must have been edited. I have to go back and check my personal files. Anyway, you find out that from releasing some slaves in a prison that Abby has been put down into, they call them like the planks or something like that. There's a specific word they call it. That's where Abby's at. She's probably dead by now is what they say. They say she got that punishment for her trying to escape. And you run down to the beach and there are literally just poles of people like basically being crucified on the beach. And that's where you find Abby. You cut her down. She immediately Lev's right next to her little pole. She runs down and cuts down Lev. Abby,
With what?
Or Ellie, she like just pulls her rope down.
Oh, okay.
Or
See, I
pulls
was
his rope
asleep
down.
during
Yeah.
this part right here.
And then, or Ellie basically begs Abby to fight her. And Abby obliges, I guess. Or no, Ellie runs up to Lev with a knife to his neck and said, you gotta fight me or I'm gonna kill him. And that's how they end up fighting. And Abby looks completely different. Her hair is cut off. She is so much skinnier. She's just gaunt. Her, like, even her skin tone's different.
Gray.
Yeah, she...
Like a grayish tinge, probably from malnourishment.
Yeah, she's definitely been through some shit. And
apparently can still fight.
yeah,
just like
she beats the... She beat the shit
Yeah,
out of
that's
me.
weird. It doesn't make sense.
Kathy, what was your issue with that part?
Well,
Now that we're there.
I was upset that Ellie left her good life to go kill Abby, and she ends up saving Abby's life. Because if she didn't go, then Abby would have died there on that pole, probably.
That's the very end, because you're about to kill Abby. Ellie's about to kill Abby, and she has that flashback to Joel saying something about forgiveness or whatever, I don't know. And she pulls away her knife and says, get out of here.
So I was asleep. I didn't see Ellie find Abby or cut her down, but I remember waking up maybe right after, and I saw the way Abby looked, her hair and stuff, but then I was like back asleep. I just remember like waking up for like a brief moment.
Yeah. So that Abby gets away in her boat with Liv. Ellie goes back to the farmhouse that she had, bought up with Dina and her child, and they are both gone. It looks like they've been gone for a very long time, based on the way the house looked.
Mm-hmm.
She's missing 2 fingers. She tries to pick up a guitar, which is another thing about this game. 2, 3, 4 moments in the game, you can. It has this little guitar type of mini game you could play to play a song. You try to play the song without her fingers. It sounds terrible. She puts down guitar.
It's really sad.
And, yeah, she puts down the guitar, leaves it, and the last shot is just like a shot of her from the window walking away. And extremely weak.
It makes me wonder, like, how long did she stay on that island? Or did it just take a long time to travel there since it was all the way in California?
It takes a very long time to get there. But I'm going to say that ending was weak as hell.
Yeah.
The entire last 2 hours of that game is fucking miserable bullshit.
Yeah. I agree with that.
If I were to tell someone to play, I'd be like, once you get to the house,
Yeah.
Just cut it off.
Just cut it off.
Cut it off.
Let that be your ending.
It's like maybe with the wiki article and then decide if you want to play the rest of it. But like, I wrote down a little paragraph here that it's basically a comparison between the first game and the second game. So the first game starts with a fucking gut punch at the beginning, and it ends with a gut punch of just like Joel lying to Ellie, saying, there was no cure. Boom.
Yeah.
The Last of Us. And I think it literally pops up the title screen right there at the...
But it was happy, too, because you wanted Ellie to live.
It was a gut punch. He lied to her. And the look on her face in that ending, she knew he was lying to her. So that was the gut punch. This game just ends with a whipper. It's just like, oh. Okay, well, Ellie fucked up. And she fucked up like 2 hours ago. Like, we've already processed it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we've...
Yeah, I thought the last shot of The Last of Us Part 1 was when they see Jackson for the first time, which is after he tells Ellie. But
I just remember her face, just like her furrowed brow, like she knew that wasn't true.
He was lying. Yeah, because I think they were talking about it as they were like going through the woods looking for Jackson, and the last shot is of Jackson.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm going to say...
What would you rate it out of 10?
What do you think, Catherine? Having never played a bit of it.
I would rate it a 7.
You sound like Review Bra.
10. What?
You sound like Review Bra.
What?
I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. And here's why.
I mean, I feel like they did some pretty innovative stuff in terms of including a transgender character, lesbian relationship, strong female characters. I appreciate those things. And it was an interesting story.
Hold on. Can I stop you for a second? Last podcast, Shelby, you had brought up wanting to play games with like strong female characters that, maybe weren't jacked up like an Abby or a lesbian or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Control.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just me as a female who's been playing games since I was a child.
And maybe the representation isn't there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Control. Strong female character. Oh my God, she's so good. Anyway, I thought about it after the podcast was over, and I was like, I need to tell her this next time we talk. We're talking right now, so I just need to get it away. Sorry.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
Well, I don't remember. I lost my train of thought.
7 out of 10. strong female characters.
Yeah. I mean, the remaining 3 is that I'm just disappointed. I'm left disappointed in Ellie. I'm pissed. I'm just pissed at the game because it didn't end the way I wanted it to end. Done.
Yeah. I would give it... See, but I'll say my rating and then I'll give my point of view of why I rate it. I would give it an 8.5. And here's why. When I play games, it's not just about the story. The story needed work, yes. But visually, that game was probably one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. And I said that about Red Dead Redemption, and it was probably graphic-wise way better than Red Dead Redemption 2. Just the environments that you're in, the facial expressions of the characters, the way that they mocap that game, voice acting is amazing.
Yeah.
The way that just it makes you feel, if a game can make you feel something, as someone who...
All their character acting was amazing. Just top to bottom.
As someone who doesn't like or doesn't play games like that, because I didn't play The Last of Us 1. I watched it like in bits and pieces online. I watch friends play it, but because I don't have the kind of patience to play a sneaky around game that's also a zombie game, like that doesn't interest me at all. But I enjoy the story. If I could just watch somebody else play it and watch it like I did for part 1 and part 2, watching Josh play it, that's fine. So from my perspective, I give it an 8.5 because of graphics, acting, sound design, Parts of the story were really good. And I'm just a Troy Baker stan. No, I was kidding.
He has like 4 lines in the game, doesn't he? Does he play anyone else besides Joel?
No.
No.
Just in general. He's in like every video game and every anime ever of all time.
Yeah.
Andy or Josh? Final ratings?
I don't like ratings because it feels like if I was to sum it all up with a rating.
If you were a critic and you had to give a rating.
I didn't have to play the last 2 hours of that game.
But you did.
And
it was a part of it.
I would probably have given it maybe an 8.5. But the fact that you essentially shit on any sort of like resolution just to make it sad or to make it like dark and more gritty and I probably maybe a 7.5 just because I don't like giving ratings. I'm not happy with the way the game ended and I'm not happy with the way that the characters ended up and it makes it's just like the last season of Game of Thrones and the way that shit went down. It ends up affecting my previous experiences. My previous experience with The Last of Us 1 because now I know what is canon and what happens to these characters. And now I just hope that whatever show that they're going to do with Last of Us comes out, that maybe the writers go, let's not take it down this route. Let's go a little bit different. Because then
let's stick with part 1.
Yeah, maybe we'll stay in that medium and then we'll expand out from there and not make it just some sort of like fucking awful revenge tale where you're just like. There was never a moment in that game. So the Last of Us 1, one of the greatest moments in that game is when you come out into the city and you see these giraffes and you see like life going on and moving on and like there's some sort of hopefulness of what is happening. And in this game, it's like, no, the world just sucks.
Yeah.
And things just go bad, and no one ever... I don't need that in my video games because real life sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
And
real life sucks right now.
Yeah,
I would leaves you with a bad...
Yeah, I would just point it like the same thing, just what I was saying earlier. Like the game just shits on you, and shits on you, and shits on you. Like there's never a glimmer of hope until the very end, and then the main character fucks it up, and you're like, well, now I just don't like anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just felt like everything that happened in Last of Us 1, I could agree with. Like, when I went and got Ellie, because I fucking didn't want to see her die after having that conversation with, Nora and what's-her-face. Or not Nora, but, I don't remember what her name is right now. But you had that conversation. They're like, "Oh, she ain't gonna survive this," and you're like, "No, like, I just spent 18 hours with this person. I don't want them to die. I'm gonna go in there and get her." And there was never a moment in this game where I felt like that sort of emotional. It was just like I'm being put on a roller coaster, and anything that I want to try to do to change the actions, it's still going to happen the same way it is. I might as well have just watched a television show than have played The Last of Us 2. I should have just watched all the cutscenes in I don't know. I just have a problem nowadays with the way that technology and games go, of being forced to do certain things, and it being done in the light of we're trying to make you uncomfortable. Like, what's his face came out and said that this game is not a fun game.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, we did not make this game fun. If one thing we need to do right now, we need to go and check on the developers to make sure that they, are sane at this point, because of them having to trudge through this for the last 3 years. And I still think there's a different game on a cutting room floor somewhere because of the way that they flip Joel out of one scene and put Jesse in the scene instead.
From that
think-
teaser trailer.
I still think that there's a game somewhere that is entirely different.
Yeah.
And
Well, people do that to games all the
they let
time.
them-
Like, stories change and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
They should have given us, like, I don't mind a sad story. In fact, I love sad stories. I love sad stories. I love melancholy endings, but give me a half twist of happiness at least. Just a little half twist. I don't need full happiness or a happy ending, just like at least a quarter of a happy ending.
It just felt it at the end of the day, it all felt like it was someone killing characters and spitting on them the entire time because he didn't want to have to come back and write this game or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, if I'm gonna have to write this game, or we're gonna have to make Last of Us 2, then I'm going to like make sure I never have to do it again.
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna get Joel killed, and then I'm gonna spin on him and call him Bendejo, and I'm going to make Ellie, one of the most loved characters in gaming for a long, long time. Like, people fell in love with that character, and I'm gonna make her out to be some of the worst, one of the worst humans at the end of the game, with her going through and like just slaughtering people and leaving a PS Vita on the floor. Like, she would have never done that. Like, the Ellie that we knew before would have never left that PS Vita on the floor.
yeah, they just made her out to be an idiot. Like, I don't know. I feel like there was something on the drawing board about this game, or someone came up with the idea where the characters in this game need to be worse off than they were when they started. And they accomplished that
Read
goal.
too many Walking Dead comics in between the first Last of Us and then Last of Us Part 2, and really enjoyed just the torture that those comics bring sometimes, and decided that he was going to take a very loved property and fucking shit all over it. Even though, like, artistic wise, yes, it's his, but at the end of the day, like, you've already given it out to the world for 7 years, and you're taking characters, and you're just, I don't know. It's
I think
frustrating.
It was a disgruntled writer.
I don't know. I mean, the person that helped him write Last of Us 1 is no longer at Naughty Dog, so he wasn't there to help write. So maybe he was there to rein him in previously. I don't know.
Dude, this is too dark. It's like,
Yeah, it's like that episode with in South Park. I can't even think of the character that's like that loves to have pain inflicted on him. Like, yes. Like, this is
Oh,
just so
Mr.
good.
Slave?
Yeah, it felt like someone that was just enacting.
I don't know. You
his-
sounded like Vincent Mann there for a second.
Yeah, Vince McMahon. Yeah, we could definitely talk about that. Where you have like these over characters, and he's like, I created them. I don't want the characters to be, created by someone else. Fucking bury them.
Yeah.
We watched characters that we love get buried in front of us.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Andy. What do you think?
I mean,
You gotta sign a number.
numbers. What are numbers? Fuck that.
Everybody else did it.
We didn't sign this contract that everyone else could do it.
We all did it.
I would give it. I would say to a person, like, I'm talking about buying advice. I would never go to a friend like, I'd give it a 7.3. It's like, no, you wouldn't. You'd be like, should they play it or should they not? I'd be like, yeah, play it. That's what I would say. I would give them caveats. I would say, here are the problems with it. The story peters out way before that it should. It's kind of long-winded.
Well, what's your number?
Fuck you out of 10. How about that? Boom! Shit! Yeah! Shut down!
Is that like a 7, an 8,
It is. People should play it
a
because
9, a 10,
because of all the things that they have listed.
9.25?
The character acting's all really good. The graphics are really good. I will champion this game all day long. I'm gonna turn your microphone down. That this game is extremely fun to play, and it's still a video game at the end of the day. Playing it is fun, and I know there's people out there who I could probably even talk to right now who wouldn't give two shits about the story. They just want a fun, cool-looking game to play, and I think this is it. This is something that people could get behind for that very reason alone, but I would say, this game has severe pacing issues.
You'd never go back and play it.
I wouldn't go back and play it again.
Yeah, 0 replay.
Also, don't pay. Wait for a sale. Hey, PSN's doing those sales for $15. Hey, it might be on PS Plus in like a year. If you can get there and play it, I'd say do that. But
we need our own rating scale. Like, instead of numbers, have it as something else. Like Jeremy Johns, how he rates his movies.
like a fuck you out of 10.
Like,
I ain't talking.
well, it's like buy it on Blu-ray, or awesome, or dog shit, or like something fun like that.
I don't like rating systems in the first place because they're always so subjective, and it's all different between. I mean, there's games that you like, or Kathy likes, or Andy likes that I might not ever want to be interested in playing, and it's just the rating system in general is just subjective, based upon the person's
That's true.
Yeah.
the person that plays and enjoys that experience.
Yeah.
So I always find it weird. Like I listen to Jeremy Johns talk about movies because most of the time I agree with the way that he watches and talks about movies. So I think, I don't know. I just don't like rating systems in general because it provides an arbitrary number to something that could be interpreted differently among another person.
Well,
Where
our very first podcast, we talked about what games we like and why we like those games. So people who are listening might have the same likes as me, or you, or Andy, or Kathy. So I feel like if we give ratings to video games, those people will be like, well, Shelby liked it and she likes the same games I like, so maybe I'll play it. Or Josh didn't like this game and I like the same games he likes, so maybe I shouldn't play that game. And same thing, Andy likes this game, maybe I'll like it. Or, I like the games that Kathy likes, so maybe I'll play it because she suggested it.
But then there's also scenarios where, like, there's games I play that I feel like I should like, and then I get to them and I'm like, I don't like this.
And there are probably other people
Last
like that.
Jedi, or not
That's-
Last Jedi, but
Would I ever play The Last of Us 2? No. But
No.
I gave it a 7, damn it. Because...
You didn't play it.
But...
You did not play the game.
I didn't either, and I gave it 8.5 because of my personal reason.
But you gotta play the game. You gotta get your hands on it.
No, I don't have time for that shit. I hate games like that. I don't feel like sneaking and walking around for
Because it's
20
still a
hours.
fun game to play. It is extremely intense. Like, I don't know. But that's why my whole thing is thumbs up, thumbs down with bullet pointed caveats. Give me thumbs up, 3 things about it that might sway your opinion. Thumbs down, 3 things about it that might sway your opinion. That's my review system. Like, thumbs up, but this, and this. Thumbs down, but this, and this. How about that?
the being able to play like that scene where you're going through the weird like group at the end, and you have like Ellie's kit fully like fleshed out, and you're putting like bombs on the ground, and people are stepping on them and going, and like
they literally turn it. They turn into mist when they step on them bombs. They turn into blood mist when they step on those bombs.
There's things like at the end that I really enjoyed about that, like like when I was looking through the VOD earlier of all the stuff I pushed on Twitch, like when I accidentally was skipping through stuff, I got to one of the things where like someone was just walking over and it's just like I don't know, the last part of that game's fun, but the story sucks. So I don't know. It's a weird experience because there are some people who do go into games that they're like, I don't give a fuck about the story.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of people that you meet online in MMOs that are like, who the fuck is Arthas? And you're like, you've been in this game for 10 years. How do you not know who Arthas is? But they don't care. They just want to pew pew and make high DPS numbers. And then you got other people who are like, who love the lore, and they'll read every book they come across and things like that. So I don't know. I'd recommend this game to people who don't have an expectation of the first game.
Yeah, who want to see a spectacle,
Really?
basically.
Yeah. If you really enjoyed the first game and you really, really love the characters, I would tell someone to go, maybe you shouldn't play it and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
It's like
It doesn't live up to the first one.
yeah. The gameplay lives up.
Yeah, I think the gameplay's better than the first one, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. But the actual story is fucking it's just it's hate for it.
Yeah,
I don't know. And like it's just like
It's frustrating. It's frustrating because you could very easily see a path where they can make it more palpable, more accessible, more not as just like, why the fuck are we doing this? You know what I mean? Like, that's half the time I was playing. Half of that game I was playing, I was like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, I don't. What's going on?
What's the point of? I still don't understand the point of the scene with Abby and Noah in the boat where they're like, we're just gonna put a sex scene right here, and it got memed all over.
Owen?
Owen.
Yeah, Owen.
Noah.
They just thought, that
I don't know why I said Noah, but it was
appeals
just
to
like
some people,
why?
I guess, or they think that does.
It's
I think it wanted to show that the fire still burned between them because they already showed that they were boyfriend and girlfriend at one point, and they're still there, and they want to make this tension between them and Mel, but it's all so stupid because who the fuck cares about Mel and like where?
Yeah.
That or the writer for The Last of Us Part 2 was formerly a CW teen drama writer.
Well, it didn't come off as like, in the grand scheme of things, that scene comes off as like dirty
Yeah.
Yeah.
more than anything else. It doesn't come off as like, these two people are finally rekindling their love, and you have like some sort of scene.
You're doing something wrong.
He's just like, I'm drunk, I'm turning you around, and we're having the scene, and it's just like, oh.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Well,
It was just a
It
little.
was a little much.
I asked Andy, I was like, Andy, why the fuck is he cheating on his pregnant wife? I mean, that's fucked up. And tell him what you
I
said.
came up with a very good answer, I think.
I thought it was good.
I said.
I want to know if y'all agree.
And I said, in the post-apocalypse, no one gives a shit about monogamy. Like that's the last thing they're worried about. They're worried about zombies and dead people. Like,
It was just very like, it felt like a scene that just didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
I already knew there was tension in between all three of them, and it was just. I don't know.
That's probably
like,
why Mel called Abby a bitch the next
Oh,
day.
yeah.
Owen probably told
she
her.
knew. She absolutely knew.
She knew.
Yeah, that thing got memed all over the internet.
What?
They basically took a picture of like her with him behind, and then they like just changed the character. Like it's they put like Goku. They like colored Goku over top of another character. Or they just like
The
they really
internet
took,
is such a scary place.
Yeah, just please, just
Definitely.
it's just
you have better things to do with
It
your
was-
life, internet.
Internet wire.
It's like when Andy transposed himself with Undertaker over top. Like they just drew random characters with each other at that.
But I'm not
point.
fucking the Undertaker. It's me.
But that's the way that they went about doing
That's
it.
the way that they did it.
Yeah, they like.
But I could. I
they
mean,
drew Abby as Goku.
I could draw that.
instead,
Don't do
or
it, Andy. Don't do it.
drew Abby as the
whatever. I'll be the new meme. It's me and Mark Calloway.
I don't know.
The Andy Taker.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I won't ever play this game again, and I probably won't even talk about it again after this podcast.
Yeah, whatever we got. We got
because-
Game of the Year in like 6 months.
Well,
and we got Ghost of Tsushima coming out this month.
This week, yeah,
next.
that's going to be our next big game we talk about because I'll be getting it on Friday. And bet your ass.
I actually like boarded like. So I've been playing through Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I finally killed a line of cultists to get like a thing, and then I was kind of like, I think I'm done. I don't think I want to continue on with that game because I just don't care about anything else in the game. I don't know. Like I got to the Atlantis part where you
Met
meet
your dad?
the dad, and you're like,
I never did anything else with that at all.
yeah, I was
It's
like,
not even part of the story at all.
I met him and I was like, okay. And he's like, go out and get these like artifacts, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
And I
he
was
was
like-
I'm
And
done.
I was like, okay, well, I want to go kill some cultists. So I went and found all these cultists and killed them. And then it was like, oh, you have to wait until this level. So then I went to the arena, and the arena isn't an actual arena. It's like you have to fight through waves of people. So I thought it was going to be like no, it's me against this one
It
person.
eventually becomes that
But-
once you defeat the few
Yeah.
waves of people.
Yeah, but I don't want to do the few waves. I want it to be like Spartacus and fucking Damascus going against each other. Like, it's just because I was really. It's like in Oblivion. Like in Oblivion, you go to an arena and you're fighting just one person,
Yeah.
and sometimes two people. But like, this time they were like, "We're gonna throw waves at you."
And I
felt like
that Oblivion,
Here's a
that
wave.
Oblivion Fighters Guild, whatever. I fucking cheesed the hell out of that. But that's a story for another time, because that was our Last of Us Part 2 Spoilercast. I got
Go watch something happy.
yeah, go play a fucking fun, bright, colorful game. I
Back
got
to Animal Crossing.
yeah, I got a cookie cake. I got a cookie cake to cut up and eat. So
Oh yeah.
y'all ready to peace out?
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I might play some Sings.
Do it.
Do it.
What you said last time when you went and laid on the couch and fell asleep.
Well, I gotta pee first, and then I'll play Sings.
So y'all want to say goodbye on the other end?
Oh, bye, Internet. You're a scary place. Please stop making memes. Weird
Goodbye.
ones.
Yeah. Goodbye, internet.
What do you think, Cat Brown?
Goodbye.
Fuck you out of 10. Boom.
Fuck you out of
Goodbye.